James walked into his mansion at 2 p.m. and found his maid pressing her finger to her lips, eyes wide with fear, whispering two words that made his blood run cold. "Stay silent." His heart stopped. This woman had worked for him for 6 years, never asked for anything, never caused trouble. Now she stood in his living room trembling, telling him to be quiet in his own home. Something was terribly wrong. Before we dive in, drop your city in the comments. We'd love to know where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story like this. Now, let's continue. James Carter had made his first billion before he turned 30. Tech company, smart investments, the kind of success story people write articles about. He had everything, a mansion in the city, cars that cost more than most houses, respect everywhere he went. But in that moment, standing in his own doorway, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Maria, his housekeeper, looked like she'd seen a ghost. Her usually neat hair was messy, her hands shook, and her eyes were begging him to trust her. "Mr. Carter," she whispered, barely making a sound. "Please, don't make noise. Don't move." James froze. The house felt different, too quiet, the kind of quiet that screams danger. He'd left for his business trip to London 3 days ago. Came back early because the deal closed faster than expected. He was supposed to be gone until Friday. It was only Tuesday. Nobody knew he was coming home. "Maria?" he whispered back, his voice tight. "What's happening?" She grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong for a woman in her 50s. She pulled him toward the kitchen, away from the main staircase. Her eyes kept darting upstairs, like something up there might hear them. James' mind raced. Burglars? Kidnappers? Had someone broken in? He reached for his phone. Maria's hand shot out and stopped him. She shook her head so hard he thought her neck might snap. "No police," she mouthed. "Trust me." Trust her? James had known this woman for 6 years, but this was insane. Someone could be robbing him blind upstairs, and she was telling him not to call for help? But something in her eyes made him stop. It wasn't fear for herself. It was fear for him. They crouched behind the kitchen island. The marble felt cold through his expensive suit pants. He'd paid $2 million for this kitchen renovation. Now he was hiding in it like a scared animal. "Talk, now." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Your wife," she breathed. "She's upstairs." His wife, Rebecca, was supposed to be at her mother's place across town. She told him she was spending the week there because her mom was sick. So, why are we hiding from Rebecca? Maria's face crumpled. "She's not alone." The words hit James like a punch to the gut. Not alone. His wife, in their bedroom, with someone else. The world tilted. He'd been married to Rebecca for 5 years. They'd had their problems, what couple didn't, but he'd never thought she'd... "Are you sure?" he asked, even though he already knew the answer. Maria nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Carter. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how. She told me if I said anything, she'd make sure I never worked again. She'd ruin my life. My daughter is in college. I need this job. I'm so sorry." James' hands balled into fists. Rebecca had threatened Maria? Sweet, quiet Maria, who baked cookies for his business partners and remembered everyone's birthdays? "How long?" he asked. 3 months, Maria whispered. "Every time you travel, he comes over. They pretend like this is their house." 3 months. 90 days of lies. Of "I love you" texts from Rebecca while he was working overseas. Of phone calls where she asked when you'd be home because she missed me so much. All lies. James started to stand up. Rage burned through his chest. He was going to march upstairs and Maria grabbed him again. "Wait, please. There's more." More? What could be worse than this? He's not just some guy, Maria said, her voice breaking. It's Marcus. Marcus. Marcus Riley. James's best friend since college. The guy who'd been the best man at his wedding. The man he'd lent $500,000 to last year when Marcus's restaurant business was failing. The betrayal cut deeper than any knife could. James felt sick, his stomach twisted. His best friend, his wife, in his home, in his bed. That's not all, Maria whispered, and now she was crying for real. Mr. Carter, they're planning something. I heard them talking last week. They think you're going to die. The words didn't make sense at first. Die? Why would they think that? Then it clicked. They're going to kill me, James said, his voice hollow. Maria shook her head quickly. No, sir, it's worse. They're waiting for you to die. Rebecca keeps talking about your heart condition, the one you told her about last year. She keeps saying you work too hard, that the stress will get you soon. She's waiting. James remembered the doctor's appointment, the irregular heartbeat. Nothing serious, the doctor had said. Just watch your stress levels. Take it easy. He'd told Rebecca about it because she was his wife, because he'd trusted her. She'd hugged him, told him she'd take care of him, make sure he didn't work too hard. Now he understood. She hadn't been worried about him. She'd been excited, counting down the days until his heart gave out and she could take everything. There's more, Maria whispered. Last week I saw her mixing something into your vitamins, the ones you take every morning. She didn't see me watching, but I saw her, with a little bottle, pouring something in. James's blood ran cold. Poisoning me? I don't know, Maria said, but I switched the bottles after she left. The ones you've been taking are safe. I bought new ones. I've been so scared, Mr. Carter. I didn't know what to do. If I told you and I was wrong, she'd destroy me. But if I didn't tell you and something happened... This woman had saved his life. This housekeeper he barely talked to beyond good morning and thank you had risked everything to protect him. Upstairs they heard footsteps, then laughter. Rebecca's high, tinkling laugh, the one she used at charity events, the one she'd used when they first met. Then a man's deep voice, Marcus. She told me this morning she filed papers, changed her will. Everything goes to her if anything happens to James, and when he's gone, everything of his goes to her. She's his only heir. How much longer do you think? Rebecca's voice, sweet, casual, like she was asking about the weather. Doctor said his heart's weak, Marcus replied. With the pills I've been getting her, maybe 6 months. Could be less if he has a bad day at work. Stress does wonders. They laughed together. James felt something break inside him. Not his heart, something deeper. The part of him that trusted people, that believed in love and friendship. Maria squeezed his hand. I called someone, she whispered, before you got home. A lawyer and a detective. They're outside, waiting. I recorded them talking last week on my phone. I have proof. James looked at this woman, really looked at her. She'd been invisible to him for years. Someone who cleaned his house and made his meals. He'd never asked about her life, her daughter, her dreams. She'd saved him anyway. Why? He asked. Why risk everything for me? Maria's eyes were kind despite her tears. Because you're a good man, Mr. Carter. 3 years ago, my daughter got sick, cancer. I didn't tell you because I thought you wouldn't care. But you noticed I was sad. You asked, and when I finally told you, you paid for everything, every treatment, every medicine. You saved her life. You told me not to tell anyone. Said it was between us. James barely remembered. It had been pocket change to him, a few $100,000, nothing compared to his wealth. To Maria, it had been everything. "You gave me my daughter's life," Maria whispered. "The least I could do was save yours." The footsteps upstairs grew louder. They were coming down. James stood up. Maria tried to pull him back, but he shook his head. He wasn't hiding anymore. He walked into the living room just as Rebecca and Marcus reached the bottom of the stairs. They were in their robes. Marcus's arm was around Rebecca's waist. They froze when they saw him. Rebecca's face went white, then red. Then she smiled, that perfect smile she'd practiced in the mirror. "James," she said, her voice bright. "Honey, you're home early. I thought—" "Stop," James said quietly. The smile faltered. "Marcus was just—" "I said stop." Marcus stepped forward, his face hard. "Look, man, this isn't what it— 6 months. That's what you said, right? 6 months until the stress gets me, until my heart gives out?" Marcus's face lost all color. "The pills," James continued, his voice steady despite the rage boiling inside him. "The ones you'd been getting for her, to mix into my vitamins, what were they? Something to weaken my heart, make it look natural?" Rebecca opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I don't know what you're talking about. I have recordings, video, audio, everything, of you two planning my death, of you changing my will, of you talking about my money like it was already yours." The front door opened. 2 police officers walked in. Behind them, a man in a suit, the detective Maria had called. Rebecca's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the stairs. "James, please, I can explain. I love you. You love my money. You never loved me." Marcus tried to run. The officers grabbed him. He fought for a second, then went limp. "You were my best friend," James said to him. "I would have given you anything. All you had to do was ask." Marcus didn't look at him. Couldn't. The officers read them their rights. Something about attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud. The words blurred together. James watched his wife, his soon-to-be ex-wife, being led out in handcuffs. She was crying now. Real tears, but not for him. For herself. For the life of luxury she was losing. When they were gone, the house fell silent again. But this time, it wasn't the scary kind of quiet. It was peaceful. Maria stood in the kitchen doorway, wringing her hands. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter. I know this must be—" "Thank you," James said, his voice rough with emotion. "Thank you for being brave when I couldn't be. Thank you for caring when you didn't have to." Maria smiled through her tears. "What will you do now?" James looked around his massive house, his expensive things, all the stuff he'd worked so hard for. None of it mattered. Not really. "I'm going to live," he said. "Really live. And I'm starting by changing some things. Maria, how would you like a raise and a college fund for your daughter? Full ride, any school she wants." Maria's eyes went wide. "Mr. Carter, I couldn't—" "You saved my life," James said. "This is the least I can do." He walked to the window and looked out at the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Tomorrow, he'd call his lawyer, start divorce papers, press charges, build a new life. But tonight, he just felt grateful. Grateful to be alive. Grateful for the one person who'd cared enough to risk everything for him. Sometimes the people who save you aren't the ones you expect. Sometimes they're the ones you've overlooked, the quiet ones, the invisible ones, the ones who see you when nobody else does. So what do you think? Should James have seen the signs earlier? Could you trust someone again after a betrayal like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love emotional stories that make you feel something real, hit that subscribe button. We share true stories about life, love, betrayal, and second chances every single day. Don't miss the next one. It might just change how you see the world.